What is up, YouTube? And today I tried to record this one live, but then it got really long, so I stopped recording it live. But it was a really good battle. So he leads out with his jump left, and I lead out with pointy P. I was predicting a jump off lead, so I went for the intimidate drop to nerf its attack a little bit when it swapped in. He goes for a sleep powder, and it lands really unfortunately, which gives me such a huge, like, what's the word? Like, drop. It gives me such a huge disadvantage. Now that the Pokemon that I could have easily taken this thing out with is asleep, and I just play so badly at the beginning. I lose almost all of my Pokemon, and it's really bad. So I swap out of Pointy Pete and I go into Sharpedo. Actually, no, I go into Mantine. I was predicting an Earthquake, so I went into Mantine. He went for a Rock Polish, and that was pretty scary shit. I went for a Scald. He could have Thunder Punched or Stone Edged, but at this point I just needed to get some damage off, and that worked out alright, but it activated his weakness policy, so now he's boosted, which kind of sucks nuts. So I have kind of forced to swap out here, because now I've got a boosted Golok with all sorts of scary stuff going on, so I have to swap into my wall. He goes for the Stone Edge, which will always land because of no guard, and he gets the crit with it as well, which does a huge amount to Alamola, and it takes some damage to do lots to Alamola, and that did a lot. So I'm forced to go for Protect, get some Lefty's recovery to try and scope out and think about what I can do next. So he was going to go for a Dynamic Punch there, and he obviously couldn't land it because I protected, and I'm going to be forced to switch out because I don't really want to take a Dynamic Punch and get the confused. So I go into Pointy Pete from the Intimidate drop again to try and drop down that weakness policy boost, and he's going to go for a Dynamic Punch on me, which I resist. I didn't know I was going to resist that, so it doesn't really do much to me, but I guess I get confused, and I'm asleep anyway. Sometimes I wish I was running Poison Point, but Intimidate is quite useful. He's going to go for a Shadow Punch here, which is Stab, and with the boosts, I'm not going to survive that. Poor Pointy Pete is asleep and just gets killed, bless him. So here I'm going to swap into Skipper. I was really hoping I would outspeed, so I didn't go for an Aqua Jet, but obviously a Rock Polish Golok outspeeds a really fast thing. I don't really know what's going on here. So I'm going to get confused, and because I have terrible luck today, I'm going to hit myself in confusion as well. That happens a lot. Like, I was kind of getting kind of mad. I constantly was hitting myself in confusion, and this is a really long battle. It's about 55 turns, so God help you if you stay to the end of it. Swap into Alamola to wall any physical attack, goes for a Dynamic Punch, gets confused obviously, because it's always a confusing kind of move, and as the bad luck of mine continues to run, I hit myself in confusion again. Thank God I've got my leftovers to heal that damage up, but the fact that I can't get any damage off on this is really starting to cost me. I managed to get through confusion to go for a Protect to get a bit more lefties and to try and scope out its other moves, and he was going to go for a Shadow Punch on me. Should have bought my big barrel, that would have been quite useful, but I didn't bring him. He's going to go for another Stone Edge on me, which isn't going to do as much to me as the last one, because I got one Intimidate drop and the other one was a crit. So I'm going to hit myself again, and I was so scared of losing Alamola. If I'd have lost Alamola here, then that would have been the end of the battle. There's no way I could have clawed any of this back. So I'm forced to swap out here. I need my Regenerator, because I can't go for a Wish, and I go into Sharpedo. I was really hoping that after one Protect I'd outspeed this thing, but no, I still can't. He goes for a Stone Edge, and I was like, oh, that's cool, gets me to my Sash, I can go for Protect, I can, you know, get my speed up, but no, I just get nailed the next turn, which was really surprising and quite upsetting, because I lost my Sharpedo, and I really needed him for the Pyroar, and he'd have been easily able to take out that thing with a Waterfall, so I should have really led with Sharpedo in hindsight, protected, killed the Jumpluff and all sorts, but God, I was kicking myself. So here I go back into Alamola with lots more health back now thanks to Regenerator, and I'm able to go for an Aqua Jet because I just want to get some damage off. I kept trying to go for Knockoff, but I kept getting confused and stuff, so I just like, screw it, I'm just going to go for the priority and try and get all the damage off that I can. He goes for another Dynamic Punch, and I get confused again, and I'm like, if I hit myself one more time, I might actually cry. So I go for an Aqua Jet. I'm like, please don't hit yourself, Alamola, and she doesn't, which is great, and she actually does kill the Golok, so that I shed some happy tears the day that Golok died. Well, the day that I KO'd that Golok was a happy day. So I got my lefties back, and in comes the Zeb Striker, and I was like, balls. So I was forced to swap into my Lantern, to absorb any kind of volt switches or anything, but it's actually a physical one, so it must be a sap-sippy one, but I'm not really sure. Or no, yeah, I can't remember whether it's physical attacker or not, because I guess lightning rod and sap-sipper. Anyway, so I'm going to go for a confuse ray on what was meant to be the Zeb Striker, but in comes the jump laugh. And annoyingly for me, I started going for thunder waves and stuff to try and get some power fuse to give myself a chance. I avoid that sleep powder, thank God. So I go for these thunder waves to try and, like, you know, slow this thing down and give myself a chance. But it turns out it actually has aromatherapy later in game, and I was just wasting like loads of turns trying to paralyze everything, which was pretty embarrassing. So in comes Zeb Striker to lightning rod my volt switch, so it's not a sap-sippy one, it actually is a lightning rod one, and he's going to swap it out and swap into his Jinx, predicting maybe a Surf or something, but I actually went for a Confuse Ray. So that was pretty good for me, so the Jinx has a chance to confuse itself. I mean, he's going to swap it out because he doesn't want to lose his Jinx just yet. So he's going to now go into Jump Luff, and I went for another Thunder Wave. In hindsight, I should have gone for an Ice Beam. I'm going to go for Surf because it's the only thing I can really do apart from Volt Switch, and I don't really want a Volt Switch. So there he goes. He's going to show me that he's got aromatherapy now, so I'm like, wow, well, Thunder Waving stuff is completely useless unless I can kill this Jump Luff. And it's going to go for a Sleep Powder and land it on me again, so that's twice my Pokemon have been slapped now, I think. Which is pretty unfair. Well, not really unfair, but it's just pretty unfortunate and scary. So I'm kind of forced to swap out my little sleepy Lantern, because even if Lantern's asleep, it's still very useful. Predicting the C-Bomb, I go into Mantine because Mantine resists it, and I have a max physically defensive Mantine instead of a max special, which is so useful for saving my team's ass. So he's going to swap out, realising he can't really do much to me at all, and go into Pyro. Now, I was kind of predicting him to not... there was a few... I could have gone for Air Slash. I was going to go for an Air Slash, but I thought if I went for an Air Slash, he was going to swap into Zeb Striker. So I was like, I'll just go for an Ice Beam, because that'll hit Zeb Striker neutral. But it turns out swapping into his Pyro, which I wouldn't have thought he would have done. I wouldn't have thought that he would have swapped a special Fire type onto my Water type. So I'm able to go for a Scald, which is almost going to kill the Pyro, but just not do enough to kill it. And I'm kind of scared of those Hyper Voices, because they're doing a lot of damage to me. And it's Life Orbed as well, so I was pretty sure if I just swapped out into something else, it would die to Life Orb damage. So I swap into my Lantern, knowing that his HP, Special Defense and Defense are all like maxed out, and I knew I could tank that hit, so that was the end of that Pyro, and that was pretty good, because I was quite scared of that thing, actually. So even though Lantern's asleep, it's very useful. Its ability is going to be very useful, and its bulkiness is useful. So I'm going to swap back out, predicting like another C-Bomb, but I think he may go for an Acrobatics, which costs my Mantine quite like a lot of health. I mean, it doesn't like Acrobatics at all. So I live that on 8 health, and I get my lefties up, so I could get on 18. So lefties give me 10 health, which is quite impressive how much like lefties actually gives you. So I'm going to swap into Coral, expecting another Acrobatics, because I don't think he would have gone for a Seed Bomb. So I was able to tank that kind of hit there, and get some HP from my lefties as well. Here she goes for a Seed Bomb, or he goes for a Seed Bomb even, which I was quite confident I could take, and I couldn't really swap into Mantine, judging by Mantine's like really bad HP kind of like state. I was trying to like bait him to go for Seed Bombs, because I thought Mantine may just be able to survive a Seed Bomb. But he switches out, and I'm like, there is a god! So as he switches out, I get a free swap out into my Mantine, and that is just the most beautiful like part of the game. This is when the tables kind of start turning here, when Mantine gets back on full health. So Mantine's back on full HP, and I get my lefties for more health, so I'm like doing really, really good on health right now, and everything's looking quite good. So I'm forced to like swap out here, because obviously I don't want to get wild charged by this thing, and I go back into Lantern to eat that wild charge that I thought was coming, but he goes for a Thrash, and I'm like, okay. So now it's coming to the point where Lantern can't really take Thrashes, but I don't really want to go into Alamola for the wild charges, but Alamola can take a wild charge, so I swap into Alamola here to take this wild charge, because I know I'm on full health, to take this Thrash even, because I know I'm on full health, and I'm going to be able to get it to be confuse itself. So it was pretty good swapping for me, and I'm just going to get health, and Zeb Striker's now going to be confused. So it's looking pretty sweet, and I'm not really having to worry much. So I'm going to go for Protect here to just try and stall him out, to like hit himself without me taking damage of him not hitting himself. So, and I get my lefties as well. I actually almost run out of PP on Protect. That's how long this battle is. He snaps out of his confusion and goes for a wild charge, which I can take just because I'm a pure, like, wall. I mean, it should be Wall or Molar or some shit. I'm able to go for a knockoff and knock off its Zap Plate, which helps out a lot because that means it's not going to get such a boost from its electric type moves as well as the stab. So Alamola can probably survive the next one better. I'm going to swap here into Lantern, hoping that he went for another wild charge, but he outplayed me again and went for a Thrash. And I just lived that, which was pretty scary. But as I say, Lantern is not doing a very good job at waking up at the moment, so it's kind of useful. I wonder, do you have to actually let it be in battle for a turn for it to wake up? It would probably do. So anyway, swap back into Alamola, make the same play again to take the Thrash and get the Zeb Striker confused again. And hopefully it doesn't snap out of confusion really quickly this time. So I'm going to get my HP back, and I'm going to go for Protect, obviously try to stall out the confusion. I just want it to hit itself once, and then I can finish it off with an Aqua Jet, hopefully, which was what I was thinking of doing. And it does hit itself once, and I'm like, yes, I can Aqua Jet it. And I know his Jinx had dry skin, but I knew it was on full HP anyway, so I didn't really care if he swapped into it or not. So I just went for the Aqua Jet, and I was like, well, what have I got to lose, really? So he goes into his Jinx, and I go for the Aqua Jet, but obviously the dry skin. I probably should have just gone for a knockoff, but I just wanted that priority to not die to the Zeb Striker, possibly, if he did stay in. So I'm going to swap on this Jinx and go into Sponge, just as death fodder now, because this poor Spongy isn't really going to wake up anytime soon, and I just needed the regenerator on Alamola because I really don't have that many Pokemon left at this point. So here I go for another Protect. I just need to try and get health as much as I can. She goes for a Sweet Kiss, but I protect myself, and I was just like, oh my god, you like sleep inducing. God damn, you already slapped my Pointy Pete and Lantern. How can you want to sleep me again? So I'm going to go for knockoff, and it's easily going to take it out because Jinx is really, really, really frail, and knockoff's super effective. And I knock off its Icicle Plate, which was going to be boosting all of its ice type moves. Not that ice is... oh, Jesus, bless me. Not that ice is very good on water anyway. So in comes Drifblim, and I'm like, this thing's probably got Thunderbolt, but he doesn't actually use Thunderbolt, so that's kind of strange. So I'm able to go for a knockoff and do quite a bit of damage to it and knock off its Chesto Berry so it can't rest. And that was pretty curious to find out that it probably was running rest. And I'm able to go for Protect here. And he's going to go for Shadow Ball. Come to think of it, Rest, Chesto Berry on Burden wouldn't be that bad. He's going to go for another Shadow Ball, which is... I was praying to not get any defense drops. If I'd have got defense drops, that would have been so bad. So I'm able to go for another knockoff, and now that there's no Jinx around, I'm able to go for an Aqua Jet next turn. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go for an Aqua Jet, but first I'm going to Protect and get some more health back, because I need as much health as I can possibly get, because it's 2 against 6 or something now, I think. Well, it was 2 against quite a lot. So he's going to go for Destiny Bond, and I'm like, maybe I should have Aqua Jetted then. And then I'm like, if he's going to Destiny Bond, can I get a free Wish up? So but he kind of goes for a Shadow Ball then, and I'm like, ooh, maybe I should have gone for an Aqua Jet, but I just about live it to get a Wish, and this is another beautiful part of the game where the tables are turning in my favour. So I go for this Wish, and I'm just like, yes. So now all I need to do is Aqua Jet and kill that Drifblim, and then I'm going to get a free Wish without taking any damage, and then I'm going to get my lefties. So I'm going to be on so much health, it's going to be fabulous. So there my Wish goes, and I'm getting all that health back, and I get my lefties back. And if I swap out, I'm going to be on full health because of my regenerator. So I was pretty impressed with the amount of health that I managed to get back for myself. So I go for another Protect because I'm getting HP greedy right now, and I just want all of the apples that I can nom on and all of the HP that I can hoard. So I'm getting more and more health. I really don't like stall battles, but it's not like I'm toxic stalling, so it's not too bad. And he's going to sleep me again. This is the 3rd time in this battle that he's slept me, and the 5th time that he's tried to sleep me. So I'm asleep again, which is really unfortunate, and Alamola looks so cute and peaceful when she's sleeping. So I'm going to swap her out into Mantine. I was like, come on, please Seed Bomb, because Seed Bomb I know Mantine can take. Acrobatics Mantine doesn't like so much. So it's going to go for an Acrobatics, which is going to do a huge more amount to me than a Seed Bomb would do, because I don't resist it. I'm not sure. Technically I should resist it because I'm flying type. I just going to go for another Acrobatics, and I was really expecting it to go for Seed Bomb there, but it didn't. But I stayed in, and I got the Ice Beam off, because I really needed to kill this thing, and I just kill it, and I was like, yes! It wasn't even a crit, it actually just killed it. I mean, I was quite impressed with that. Like, no special attack investment on my Mantine at all. Usually my Mantine fails me and, like, almost kills things, but doesn't quite kill things when I need it to kill things. And I was pretty impressed that it actually killed that. At this point, I'm like, oh, this is his last Pokemon, and the only thing he can really do is Wild Charge me. So I swapped into Alamola to take this Wild Charge. And he's obviously just going to die to recoil anyway, so that was the end of the game. And I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry that it was so long. I mean, 55 turns is an insane length for a battle. But I just really wanted to show you guys like how impressed I was with my team and how well I kind of managed to counter it and turn the battle around like quite quickly. And how Pokemon are pretty powerful even though they're asleep. I mean, Lantern was asleep and Alamola was asleep and they were still wrecking shit. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this battle. I'll see you all around and goodbye.